All right, blessings on your life. This is another day that the Lord has made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Um, I wanted to come to you today, and I know it's a day before I usually post, and I post on Sundays and Wednesdays, but um, I made a grave error on Sunday, and I want to apologize for um, being out of place and neglecting the the privilege that God has given me to communicate His word. And I was a bit frolicky. I didn't mean no harm. Nevertheless, you don't have to mean harm to do harm. And so, what I said and how I said it was unbecoming of a disciple, a Christ-like gentleman, a Christian for many of you. I didn't mean it the way that it came out, and I was really being silly. It was in jest what I was saying. However, it offended some people, and so I want to make amends for that today. That you would not be offended. It is never the heart, the mind of me to belittle anybody. I don't think of myself as such much. I was feeling rather chipper that day, and I had just watched The Color Purple, and The Color Purple was in my mind. And as I was thinking about that, I always got 2 or 3 messages going on in my head at one time. So it just came to me that little scene in there where you say, "You sure is ugly." But I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it in terms of making someone look at themselves less than. Okay? Because there's a lot of things that I don't like about myself that someone could point out. So I didn't mean it like that. What I was trying to do was to communicate the message. The core of it was with the umbrella of exposure. That's the common theme that we're dealing with this series now called Exposure. Out of exposure, we have this subtitle called In Between the Lines. And so I was using that because I thought it was very easy for someone to better understand, to recognize the necessity to be able to go in between lines. Because we live in a world, in a space, where what they say is really not what it is. And what it is really not what they say. And so it is getting more and more difficult for us to navigate. So the message exposure and in between the lines becomes more and more paramount. I just should have left that out. Okay. But I didn't mean it in a harmful way. The lady that was used in there, she has no idea. And it was just in jest. It was really just in jest. The Bible talks about Jacob and his response to Rebekah and Leah. Leah was one that was used to birth out, if you will, predominantly the nation of Israel. That's not to say that Rebekah was not useful and that she did not produce fruit. That's not to say that. I'm trying to get you to see something though. The thing that Jacob also recognized between the 2 women was one woman was very good looking. The Bible describes her as being goodly to look upon. Just like it was with Sarah, she was goodly to look upon. In our day, we wouldn't say goodly to look upon. We would say she is fine. Did you hear me? That's what we would say. The Bible does not suggest that a person is ugly in terms of that particular language, that vernacular. It does not say that you're ugly that way. However, the Bible does make mention of disparities, and that can be subjective depending on who's looking and what you like juxtaposed to what somebody else likes. So in this case, Jacob thought Rebekah was beautiful. And the Bible describes Leah as droopy-eyed, sleepy-eyed, teary-eyed. I'm just giving you some synonyms, some synoptic verbiage. And so it suggests to us on the surface that she wasn't like Rebekah was to look at. Leah was not. Leah was a little bit different. And I guess Jacob was a little vain, and he wanted what we would consider today is fine. All right. So in that light, sometimes we take things a bit far, but even as a preacher, I have to use wisdom, because I have to look at how people might view it. And so some people didn't view it as so great, but I didn't mean it like that. It was all in fun. I was feeling silly, and it was just in jest. I'm even considering taking the message off. But the message I don't want to, and I would hate for the closing of that message to destroy the whole message, because the message is very germane to where we are today. And I preference this message by dealing with, in earlier messages before this, as we unfold the series Exposure, and I reconciled it. Y'all gotta excuse me, I'm being tested for this doggone coronavirus thing, so I ain't feeling the greatest. So when we look at this, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because I made an error in the message in my closing. The message overall is extremely important, that we understand what's in between the lines. And sometimes, like myself, you can be doing something real silly and lose sight of what's important and what your objective is, and say something off the cuff that messes everything up. And so I hope that that you all can get beyond that and see my heart, in spite of my words, that I don't think none of God's people are ugly like that. But we in this flesh, we in this body, and so it was not tasteful. They got a video out right now of this guy that's making light of monkeypox, and the video is extremely funny. It's a little profane, but it's extremely funny. And but to those that have monkeypox, and if you was to look at pictures of monkeypox, those folks would not think that that's so funny. And so hence is the reason why I'm being very apologetic, because people that measure themselves against what the world has determined what is beautiful can be extremely offended. And in fact, they could be at the brink of opening their arms to Jesus. And because of what maybe I said, they could fold them back up. I don't want that to happen on my watch. So I don't know whether I'm going to take it down or not, but I want to say this as relates to that in between the lines, under the canopy of exposure, that when we look at some of the things that have been subliminal, suggestive thoughts for us to ingest and for it to become a part of us, we have to say to ourselves, what is really going on? What is really being said? What is really being communicated? When the coronavirus first hit, the coronavirus dealt with two main things. One, that we talk about a little bit, the other one not so much, but we talk about the fear. Coronavirus, COVID-19, was initially distributed to put the fear of Jesus and the devil all in one in our hearts. That's what it was designed to do. The other thing is that it was supposed to highlight prophecy. I'm not going to get into these two today, but I'm just trying to let you know that fear was in between the lines. Prophecy was in between the lines. The prophecy came out of Matthew 24, somewhere around verse 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. You continue to read on. But the fear was that people viewed it in so many different ways. We were told to distance ourselves. We were told to take the vaccine. We were told to stay inside. There's just a lot of things that went on with that. And so at the end of the day, what you have to say is what was really going on, what was in between the lines. It's funny now that we're dealing with other things and coronavirus has not went away. Hence the reason why I'm being tested right now is it was only pronounced to polarize a season, to get us to submit whatever you want to call it to a certain agenda, to get us to start thinking a certain way for a season. But it's interesting now that they ain't talking about that no more. It's not as polarized. Still talk about it, but not as much. And so in between the lines is there were so many different things that we look back. We look at Black Lives Matter. We look at the LGBTQ. We look at women's rights, Me Too movement, all that. When you look at that, what is really going on in between the lines? It's not over. It's just that it's not calmed down because you got the war between Ukraine and Russia. And you got other things that's going on right now. So it's like whatever CNN, MSNBC, and Fox and all them, whatever they want to highlight. But God does not want us to be ignorant of Satan's devices. And so I just think that it's very critical that we understand that now. And so hence is the reason why we deal with this whole series now, in between, with the exposure, with the subtitle of In Between the Lines. I talked about it from, and I don't know if you all pay attention to my intro. The intro deals with things when you take a picture and what people see. Even when I came in on Sunday, I came in with the video not even showing me. And so if the video doesn't show me, that in itself suggests something about me. And then as I move into the screen, then you see something else about me. But there's something that's going on in between. And so sometimes it's more to be said in what you don't see as opposed to what you do see. And so when we look at this whole thing, I talked about it because we look at that little video clip right before my intro, and it talks about exposure, being exposed to the word and so on and so forth. One of the things that I highlighted on Sunday, I tried to highlight, was what Jesus was trying to say in Luke 17:6, where he says, if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, that you can speak to the sycamore tree and tell it to be removed, and it'll be removed. You can move from here to there. And I was trying to show you with my illustration, and I'm just giving you a truncated because this is really about being apologetic, but at the same time, I'm trying to show you how important this is. He was trying to get them to understand that there is an importance as it relates to measures. So the faith of a mustard seed is very, very small. It's considered to be one of the smallest seeds on the planet, and yet it can grow one of the biggest trees. So he says, if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can speak to the sycamore tree and tell it to be uprooted and moved to another location, that you can do that. Oftentimes we take that understanding that Jesus is saying that all you need is the faith of a mustard seed, when in essence, in between the lines, that was not what he was saying. What he was saying is that I am not condoning mustard seed faith. I'm trying to get you to see that if you approach certain situations with the faith the size of a mustard seed, then sycamore trees, or a sycamore vice, a sycamore stronghold, a sick of mind restriction, a sick of mind desire in your life, that mustard seed faith can handle that. However, it is not my objective for you to remain in mustard seed faith. So he's saying now, relative to size, that faith is faith, but it comes in different measures. So we take the faith the size of a mustard seed, we can deal with sycamore tree obstacles, challenges. But then when you get into situations where you need mountains to be removed, now we're talking about the same faith, but it's the faith given in greater measure. I'm saying all that to say this. One is it's congruent to in between the lines. Two is the church has gotten stuck. The church has gotten stuck with the fact that all they need is, and we've been conditioned to think like this, is faith the size of a mustard seed. And so we stop right there. We stop. And so hence, it is also showing the strength of the church, because since we stop right there, we have also stopped the progress of God. And so we're seeing the church do little things because they got little faith. They do little exploits. All right. And that is not the objective. The objective is that greater works will you do than mine. And that's not to say that you be greater than Jesus. It's just saying because you have more time and because you got me in the person of the Holy Spirit, then you'll be able to do greater works. That's what it's saying. But if we limit ourselves based upon our knowledge and our limited understanding, my people perish, according to Hosea 4:6, for a lack of knowledge. They are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So the thing that's really hurting us is that we don't know. There's certain things that we don't know that is crippling us. And even with this particular series, I'm trying to highlight that what you don't know is killing you, is killing us. Hence, it's in between the lines of something. So I used a bad example with the lady on Sunday. And I used another example with the guy that thought I was calling him a devil, but which I wasn't calling him a devil. I just said that the devil is a lie. It is a church colloquialism, especially in the African American community. But if you don't understand what's in between the lines, it will cause us to suffer a great deal. And it just plays out in so many layers, so many different levels. Okay. And so I hope I've cleared some things up. We will continue tomorrow and say more about in between the lines. But really my purpose today was just to come and to express my sincere apologies in the event that I offended somebody. Okay, I did not mean to. I didn't. I promise you I didn't. I don't think of people one way or the other in terms of looks. It don't really matter to me. But sometimes if I'm feeling frolicky, I might lean into something that's kind of funny. Maybe that wasn't funny. I thought it was funny at the time. So pray for me. I'll pray for you. Maybe some of y'all saying, "Oh, we don't want you praying for us." Well, listen, God bless, and hopefully we'll see you on tomorrow. Okay, be encouraged. Godspeed.